11th of March 25. It's Tuesday and I'm following the Reform Rupert versus Nigel Farage and the rest thing. And well, Rupert went on Dan Witten's show yesterday and absolutely trounced the Reform side of the story. You know, it turns out that the two people from his court offices who were meant to be claiming about bullying or whatever, both of them were going tribunals or something. Neither of them actually, Rupert was aware of the complaint or whatever. Or it wasn't even against him. I don't know, but Rupert totally done it in yeah. I mean, the thing is, like they're saying Rupert isn't a team player. I mean, that seems fair enough in my opinion from what I've seen. You know, from what he's tweeting. But the problem is that we all agree with what he's tweeting on immigration anyway. I would say in 5 or 10 years' time, native females that vote the left will think he's not gone far enough on it, but you know, because they'll be hysterical by then. Maybe not. Maybe they will think it's going to be a utopia, but yeah. But he's far further closer to, I think, people who are joining the Reform Party as members than the Reform Party are, you know, because their policy on it's not very good, really. The net zero thing, which I remember last year under Boris's fourth wave, it would have been about 400,000 new people from the third world. I think about 90% of them from the third world, the other 10 from probably the second world. Yeah, so I'm just following this thing. Yeah, he pinned a post today, but it seems to be gone already. What's he saying anyway? Maybe I am an amateur at politics, having seen how it works from the inside. I now wear that as a badge of immense pride. I did not know that these people had it in him. I honestly did not think it was possible to stoop those wicked levels. I thought football was a dirty game. Politics is something else entirely. Normally in life the bullets come from the enemy. I fought alongside these people for years, campaigned with them, celebrated with them, laughed with them. Yes, there were issues, as there are in any family, but I genuinely believe that we were a team. How wrong I was when I was informed that senior Reform figures have been briefing journalists that I have dementia. I was shocked. Perhaps I shouldn't have been. Weaponising something so hideous to smear me is the most appalling thing I've ever seen in politics. But no, I actually think that they might be wondering they might have early onset dementia, so I don't have any real problem with them thinking that, you know, because apparently he's acting differently in character. He's more, how would you say it, bombastic or whatever. He's probably just being himself more now, you know, when he was in the Brexit Party and that, because he's been with Nigel a long time, well, 6, 7, 8 years, I don't know, but he used to be very deferential or whatever, but now with Twitter, you know, he's doing about 10 posts a day. He's like Trump, really. Mainly on immigration, which is good, and the grooming gangs. Yeah, so it's all good, you know, with the stuff he's posting. But it doesn't seem like a team player to me, really. I mean, the problem for Reform is that what he's saying about immigration is what me and Reform members want, rather than what the Reform are giving, you know? Because they're giving the sort of civic nationalism. Zia is a big success story, you know, with his Capital One thing that he sold for 150 million, which is it's unclear how good or bad it is, you know, if it will just be closed down by Capital One, you know, these big companies often buy out things that they see are rivals and then just close them down, you know, like Vine. Somebody bought Vine and closed it down. Then you end up with TikTok, which is the exact same thing but a different name, you know, but yeah, so I'm not really bothered about them calling, because they might think that. I believe that they might think that. So, it was the most appalling thing I've ever seen in politics. I came into this for one reason, to change the way our country is governed. That is it. Because apparently when you first get dementia, people can become argumentative, people are usually very cooperative or whatever, but I don't think, I don't even remember, is that cooperative anyway? He tries his best, but he's a sort of native Brit Sergeant Major type, bridge over River Kwai, step over her lip, that sort of guy, I'm sure he is really pleasant. His staff said he was really pleasant in a tweet that he pinned, but he's taken it back down again for some reason, I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, it's Rupert we're all following, really, so I don't know what will happen to the reform. I came into this for one reason, to change the way our country is governed. That is it. I totally agree with him with this, but the problem is, I don't want to govern the way he wants to govern the island. I don't want another party hamper. Basically, a whole selection that he chooses, I want the Swiss electoral system where they vote in referendums, they vote on issues. You're not stuck with one party, you can vote on one issue one way, vote one issue the other way. So, yeah, basically direct democracy as much as possible, so I think Rupert would be totally against that. And not only that, Reform are in favour of proportional representation. Or they were, anyway. I mean, I don't think they are in, what would you call it, in belief. They are because they were getting about 14% and they thought they should have more seats, but now that they're the dominant party, Rupert's saying that I think we should stick with first past the post, because now basically instead of Labour being the dictatorship, it would be Reform, So I don't agree with that at all. And if you keep the first past the post system, it has to be every 3 years like Australia. There's Australia having another election just now. We've got to wait like 4 years. We've already had a year of Labour nearly. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's not democracy at all. So here's what's he saying. I don't care about money or fame. I've done that. I'm not interested. I donate my entire net MP salary to local charities. It is not about any of that. I want to change Britain, and I mean radical change. See, that's the problem. Definitely, I want immigration to stop, and multiculturalism to stop, really. But do I want it changed the way Rupert wants it on the economy and stuff? No, I don't. That means my soul. I mean, he's a sort of Thatcherite, maybe a bit more. What would be the word they would use? Liberal in the sense that they use over in America. Anti-public sector, which I don't agree with, really, Public sector's got a place in nice societies. What did I do wrong? The unforgivable act of standing up to Farage. I don't think that's true, really. I've certainly learnt one valuable lesson over the last few days. Loyalty and reform lasts only until it's no longer useful. I mean, he's been unfair to them, in my opinion, really. But also, what was the other thing he said? He said he's been backstabbed many times in business or something. I don't know about it. That's not the kind of thing I expect somebody who gets on, not many times, or he's been let down with loyalty many times, or blah blah blah, I wonder where he made his money, and I've not checked. Here we go. This is an hour ago. I have instructed lawyers to represent me in this matter. My lawyers have made contact with the Met Police and have made them aware of my willingness to cooperate in any necessary investigation. My lawyers have not yet contact, really. Gregory Armagh MP was referred to the police by Reform on Friday, with party alleging he has made verbal threats against chairman. Yeah, I did wonder this, alright, he's just cooperating with them. I thought he was actually making a complaint against them, because I think that's fair enough. If you think somebody's wasting police time, then you should make a complaint against them, put the pressure on them. At the moment, these people can seemingly just walk away, It is highly unusual for the police to disclose anything to the media at this stage of an investigation. See, one thing about Rupert as well, see his attention to detail, that seems spot on to me. I mean, when he was on Dan Wooten and what he's been writing on Twitter, he's looked at everything, including paperwork, I remain unaware of the specific allegations, but in any event, I deny any wrongdoing. The allegations are untrue. I mean, he's done a fantastic job. I mean, like I say, at the moment, to me, people might be bothered about reform and fighting. I've not bothered about it at all. Even just start another party. Him and Ben Habib and UKIP have said that they would accept him. Nick Dinkomi or whatever his name is. Yeah, it's just, I don't agree with the party system, but yeah, or just start his own with Ben Habib, Suella Braverman, Liz Truss, Robert Jenrick. I mean, I don't agree with him on economics and stuff, but on one issue, I'm only voting on one issue. On that, they're the furthest to the Overton window. We need an Overton window shift on that issue. We need to be starting where the Greens are in favour of stopping immigration altogether, partly from the viewpoint of women's rights and LGBTQ+, but the Greens feel it's going to be great the way it is on that, you know. Because the Greens in Germany, they say things like for the immigration test you need a mental health check, and I think the co-leader a few months ago, the female co-leader, said that those from Morocco, Algeria, etc., who have been refused asylum must be deported. Basically, is it? I mean, it's the kind of thing you would expect Rupert to say, you know, here. Reform wouldn't even say that over here, I don't think. Or so that's what the Greens are like in Germany, you know. But I think in general they are pro-open borders, basically. Make the German natives a minority as fast as possible for a new third world majority. Mr Farage has openly lied about me on national television. He must urgently apologise, retract and correct the record. Yeah, and somebody was saying that Rupert's using, is he the first MP or politician to use Twitter to actually totally trouns a party who's tried to get rid of a member, you know. He's turned it totally upside down via Twitter, really, you know. Because at first, when I first heard it, I was thinking, well, I could see this happening, you know. Like, I was thinking that Rupert's totally off the rails with his tweets in terms of party conduct or whatever, you know. I thought he was totally off the rails in that, you know, but in a good way. So I wasn't really bothered, you know. He was pushing the envelope basically on immigration. He's saying they should be detained and deported and things like that if they come in illegally. I mean, Anne Widdecombe said that 25 years ago when she was in a government minister, and they thought it was outrageous of her, you know, but it's just as common sense. So let's see what he's saying. He must urgently apologise, retract and correct the record. So I think he's thinking illegal action here. He says he knows for a fact on the 29th of February I was informed that there was a parliamentary investigation into allegations. Yeah, no, but he said Rupert says he gave that interview on the 25th to the Daily Mail, so that's not true, but so that's interesting the way he's doing. The other thing about Rupert I would say is that Westminster parliamentarism is a part-time thing at the moment, and I think the other reform guys probably do a bit more than the other MPs from the other parties, but not as much as Rupert. Rupert's a one-man, full-time Westminster parliamentarian. He's always asking questions. He's putting them all to shame, really, including reform in terms of parliamentarism. You know, so as a Westminster parliamentary thing, I think he's excellent. I've said that in the past. Parliament should be on 365 days a year, 24/7. If that means you need 3 MPs, then so be it. But yeah, it should be on all the time unless nothing needs changed. And there's that statement I was talking about from his team. As Rupert's entire parliamentary team, we feel obliged to take the unusual step of publishing the statement on the record. Rupert has had no involvement in the organisation of drafting of his letter. And I'll just say the last line. Rupert is a good MP, a good boss and a good man. He does not deserve what is happening to him. Yeah, and they're saying that there's 2 ladies that complained Rupert didn't even know about it. It wasn't anything to do with him. It was to do with someone else in the staff, but the two were they were facing serious allegations, and they both left before the allegations were I don't know, something like that. Anyway, yeah, yeah. So it's very interesting times. Personally, I'm liking it. People are saying this stuff should be done behind closed doors. I'm not sure it should, really. Maybe have a go doing it in the open doors, because people aren't really, they're voting for parties, yeah, definitely, but mostly they're voting for people, really, at the moment we're voting for Rupert. Um, yeah, see, here's Rupert. He's an old Tory in the sense, like, there's a taxpayer on a bike and the government's weighing down in the back, doing nothing, taking a backie. I don't agree with that, because I think most taxpayers are actually take some. I think you need to earn about 38k before you're actually a tax contributor, really, because all them working tax credits, child benefit. I mean, if you can't bring up your child with an income coming into the house of 30k, there's something really wrong. Why do you need child benefit of £13 a week, £25 a week, or whatever? Labour brought that in around about 1965 or something. And, I mean, I agree with child benefit under certain poverty. In fact, I would encourage it now to encourage natives to have children. Having said that, I'm not sure how big a issue population growth is going to be, because we've got AI and automation just round the corner. If we've even got some out now, I mean, taxi drivers are going to be a thing of the past pretty soon. Uh, okay, that's what Robert's saying. Let's see what the other ones are saying. Robert Jenny, we'll have a look at him later. Nigel Farage, okay, let's go. The Conservatives had 14 years to cut immigration. So yeah, this is Tories have come up with a new immigration proposal. Apparently Kemi wasn't going to do any proposals soon, but because Reform are doing so well in the polls now, she's suddenly come out with immigration policies like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And here's another one. So let's see what she's saying. Commenting on the Conservatives' newly announced policy to deport foreign nationals with criminal convictions and their call for a salary hike on work visas, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage said the latest announcement from the Tories is shameless posturing from a party that was responsible for one of the biggest policy failures in modern British history, for which they should never be forgiven. Hear, hear, hear. That's what I'd say in Parliament. Hear, hear. It's interesting because Marek Black said that the noises making Parliament were terrible, but I wonder what she was like at the end, do we have video of her going, that sort of thing, Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's interesting because Mary Black left because she said she wants to focus on issues, so she's same as me in party hampers, basically. The latest announcement from the Tories is shameless posturing from a party that was responsible for one of the biggest policy failures in modern British history, for which they should never be forgiven. Here, here, here. The only reason we need to deport so many foreign criminals in the first place is because of the Tories' total failure in government. They had 14 years to deport illegal criminals, yet they allowed their numbers to spike and illegal immigration to run wild. I mean, why just foreign ones? Does that mean if they do something like they shoplift baby food once or something, they're going to get deported, If they're foreign nationals, well, if that means ones that are on visas as well, yeah, fair enough, yeah, okay. I mean, I think that happens in America, if you go to America and you get you won't even get in there if you get a slight conviction from Britain, but if you're from the third world, you just turn up over the border, basically. But if you're if you got even a small thing like I don't know, shoplifted 30 years ago or something, you might not get in. But And if you do something there, you'll get kicked out, back to Britain. So if you're from the third world, you probably won't. I don't know, but let's see. It should not be forgotten that in 2020, the Tories cut the migrant salary threshold by 30%. Yeah, this was Boris, after Brexit went through. Yeah. What followed was record levels of mass immigration. Kemi Badenoch is now proposing raising it to a level that, when adjusted for inflation, is still £6,000 lower than the pre-2020 threshold. The Tories aren't serious about cutting immigration. The British public voted on 4 separate occasions for the Tories to control immigration, and after each vote it got worse, not better. Only Reformer are serious about ending mass immigration, deporting illegals, and controlling our borders once and for all. Yeah, so that's good. Well done. Yeah. See, like Nigel and that are saying latest article on this in the Telegraph, but the Telegraph's a paywall, and most of us don't follow the Telegraph anyway. So it is ironic when they go to the old media type things behind paywalls and stuff. I mean, if you are going to do a newspaper thing, maybe, then go to the Sun or the Daily Mail and make it non-paywall, do you know? But personally, I would just use Twitter and that now, and YouTube as well. I think it's Rupert should have his own YouTube channel, you know. Yeah, the East Yorkshire Mayor thing is up. I'm hoping that Reform win that. I think they've got a good chance, actually. Yeah, see, here's Nigel talking about this Palestinian militant migrant who came in from over in a dinghy. It seems that no current Muslim country was desirable to him. We don't know how he feels about people of colour countries, whether he ruled them out as well. He seems to have ruled out France and West Europe. Britain was for him, you know. Apparently he's been arrested, I don't know what for, you know, but I doubt, I mean, he's definitely going to get citizenship under Labour, no doubt. This is national security emergency, and the only solution is to deport those who come. But there's nowhere to deport them to. There's a picture of him, 2 guns, AK-47s by the looks. He's wrapping up. But the thing is, why did he want to come to Britain? Why did he rule out any Muslim country? Why hasn't he picked a people of colour country? Why hasn't he picked West Europe? Is he armoured? Is he a supreme type? Is that how he sees Britain and America? I'm guessing he probably would accept America as well, and might, once he gets citizenship, he might try to move there. I don't think there's any chance now under Trump. And apparently under Trump, the border incidents or border guards meeting asylum seekers coming in, or whatever you want to call them, migrants coming in, has went from something like 80,000 a month to about 8,000 since Trump came in. So, and that's probably just because of the fear. So the people that were going to come had to stay in their beautiful warm countries, beautiful warm homelands at the moment. Why they don't want to go to Mexico or whatever, or if they're not Mexican, we don't know. Reform UK are 7 points ahead of the Tories. I never saw this one. Oh yeah, the Tories. Predictions show that would have won us 184 seats at the next general election. Yeah, so maybe this is why Kemi's coming out with immigration stuff today again. This is her second batch of stuff she said on it. Yeah, so Nigel's, as he said, did they still do the replies thing? Why don't they just put all this in the same? 48% of London's social housing is occupied by people who are foreign and have likely paid little or no tax. And there's London, looks like the Blues, probably 50% plus. This is what 14 years of Tory government looks like. They would do the same again. Yeah. Let's see what Lee's saying. Probably nothing at the moment because he's quote to chief whip, even though there's only 5 whips, 5 MPs, but yeah, I've seen something about domestic violence. Sadly, some women are trapped in controlling relationships. This happened to a lady in Ashfield. Setting the record straight, this is a day ago, I think. The independent KC investigating the allegations has already publicly rebuked Mr Lowe for making false claims. As the KC's statement makes clear, the written complaints include allegations about the conduct of Mr Lowe. I ask that Mr Lowe respect the independence of the investigation and refrains from making further false statements. I think Rupert replied to him. Oh, I think he did a reply anyway. And refuted it all, so no, I think he did, or it was under that. There is a huge amount of pressure on Nigel and their team. Lee's been saying that this is the greatest thing he's done, in terms of politics, been with reform. But then maybe he was never a Labour guy, really. He was a coal miner Labour guy, sort of hard trade unionist type. So to me, they are the same type as on the right anyway. It just happens that that's their football team quote. Because I didn't like trade unions and that either. All I saw them as sort of abuse of power, basically. It wasn't really. So he went from Labour to Tory and then over to Reform. But let's see what the official Reform account's saying. So just retweeted Nigel 1 hour ago. The number of registered businesses decreased in the last 3 months of 2024 thanks to Rachel Reeves' tax hikes. Well, I don't agree with that. It's the first time. How do you know? It's the first time this has happened since records began. Labour is crashing our economy. Britain needs reform. No, we're not interested. We want a one-issue party. The Tories had 14 years to cut immigration. But I'll vote for you anyway, so it doesn't matter. The Tories are serious, because only that one issue matters. If we're going to be we're either going to be a utopia or anarchy. So it's up to you or something in between. The Tories aren't serious about cutting immigration. They failed for 14 years. So, well, I'll leave it at that just now. Reform is surging in Scotland. We are ready to offer an alternative to the failed partisan Holyrood. Yeah, they're at 18% at the moment. When was this taken? 25th of February too. So that's pretty recent. Reform at 18%. That's fantastic. I voted for them in the general election. Yeah, 18%. Tory down 12%. No, is that them? Yeah, they're down 11%. That must be from the general election, I think. No, it can be. Because Reform get 8%, I think, at the general election. Maybe it's since last year or something. Oh, well, this is talking about the Scottish Parliament, maybe, I don't know. No, this is just national. Leave it at 18%, that's a surprise. And SNP 30%, down 10. I'll need a look at this. Changes with last result. Oh, the 2021 election, right. So that was like 4 years ago. We don't have much democracy in Scotland. It's every 5 years. It was every 4 years, which is a bit better, but not good enough. But Nicola and Co changed it to every 5 years, where we get a chance to vote a party hamper. So, yeah, from that, SNP would be down 10. Labour would be the same, so any gain they got last year's gone. Reform went around 18% they we get now. Well, they were around, I think, but under Richard Tyson and the Tories down, so that's good. Over half of all illegal migrants who have reached Britain in 2025 arrived in the last 10 days alone. It's clearer than ever that Starmer can't and won't stop the boats. Yep. Stop dinghies. Please call it dinghies. Why he's calling it boats? That's what Tories used to make it sound as if it was harder to stop them. Stop the dinghies. So, okay, I'll leave it at that just for now. I've made my message. If you're worried, especially if you vote left, I think, on women's rights and LGBTQT plus and that, I think you should maybe look at voting reform. Vote them in council by-elections, any chance you get. Forget the infighting, just vote for a paper candidate, just vote for the name. Don't bother about all that. Vote on one issue if you're worried about that. If you think we're going to become monarchic rather than a utopia. Yeah, it's okay, that's all for now. Bye.